Hey guys, and welcome to the Mr. Gray Live Show. I am, of course, your host, Mr. Gray, and today I'm going to be your creative pilot as we journey into imagination land right here on this whiteboard. So stick around for the next hour as I teach you guys how to draw cartoons in a super simple, fun, step-by-step process. Again, right here on this super shiny whiteboard. It's gonna be you, me. We're gonna have a lot of fun. So if it is your first time joining the Mr. Gray Live Show, you can do one of two things. You can either A, get your pencils, markers, crayons, or popsicles and draw along with me, or B, you can get your popcorn, your ice cream, your snickety snacks, your triple chocolate fudge banana sundae, and you can just sit back, eat, have fun. We're all about positivity here. So if you just want to hang out and have good vibes, stick around. And before we start the show, let's go to producer Rosie to find out what tonight's theme is. Producer Rosie? Extinct animals. Tonight's theme is extinct animals, and this comes straight from you guys. So if you are just tuning in, everything I draw here is chosen by you awesome people. So every show, we bring out the whimsical wheel of whimsy, we spin it, we put your themes on it, and whatever fate picks, we do it. So last week, extinct animals was chosen. So be sure to start putting your themes in right over here. Just do it now. There's no time like the present, they say. So what do you say we get this out of here? Pew pew! That's how you blast that away. So if you guys want to sit back and have fun, get out your markers. I'll give you like 10 more seconds just in case you didn't run over to your computer or your phone with your marker in hand. I'll give you 10 seconds and we're gonna get right into this. So again guys, tonight's theme is extinct animals. So we got some fun ones. Really weird ones that I've never heard about. But they're super, super duper awesome. And if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Mr. Gray. I'm a cartoonist. I make super awesome, fantastical coloring books that you can get on Amazon.com. Just search Mr. Gray Coloring Books and, I don't know, have fun coloring. And what do you guys say we get into this? Let's get right into it. If you are drawing along with me at home, this first one, you're gonna wanna make sure your paper is horizontal, just like that. And we're gonna start with, you guessed it, an eyeball. So we're gonna start right about, how about here? Oh, and you know what? I probably should have told you what we're drawing. So we are gonna draw a Tasmanian tiger. Very much looks like a dog, but this little guy is extinct. So we're gonna start with the eyeball and a nice straight horizontal line. That's gonna be his little nose. And then let's go ahead and add that second eye just so you guys can see what we're doing here. I'm gonna try to make them fit. The Tasmanian tiger is a very slender creature. Let's go ahead and add a nose right about there. And you're just gonna do like almost a circle. Like you were doing a circle, but you got tired. All right, let's give him a nice, happy smile. And then I always recommend ending it with a little cheek. And so I like to do cross-eyed, but how about for the Tasmanian tiger? We make him a cool tiger. We're just gonna put his eyes off to the side like that. And then right under here, let's give him his little mouth. Okay, so before we draw the top of the head, let's go right into the ear. And the ear is really simple. You're just gonna draw a pointy triangle, just like that. And then what I like to do is add a little curved line inside of there. And if you watch my last stream, sometimes I start doing something new and I fall in love with it. And this is my newest way to draw tops of heads, and I'd like to do these little butts. I know it's not new to the world, but to me, I enjoy doing the little butt heads. And then let's go over here and add another triangle, so of course he can put his headphones on. Okay, so this next part, don't freak out, is one of your most important lines. We're gonna go from back here all the way to his butt, and we'll just cap it off there. we'll end up adding a nice little tail over here. Okay, so when I draw animals, I approach it in a very different way. I like to build the top of the animal first, and then I add the 2 legs, stomach, and then the back legs. So let me show you. So for the back leg, you start to picture sort of where his thigh would be. And you're gonna add 2 lines converging to each other. And then, I like to just do that. Just curve it out a little bit, show some of that calf muscle. He's got an LA Fitness membership. Add a little knee. And then bring this bad boy down here. And then, of course, a nice, big ol' chunky paw, just like that. So now for the front leg, you're gonna put it right here, but you're gonna do it a little bit thinner. So even if you want to, you could just do 1 straight line, make it nice and easy, and try to get it as straight across as you can. And again, if you are just joining us, we are drawing Tasmanian tiger, an extinct animal from a period I don't remember reading earlier, but he is a cool tiger. He looks like a puppy. So I'm just repeating the same steps here. And then, again, we're gonna converge to this little point. Give him nice long legs. So now what I like to do is come from the bottom of the mouth and start to build in his belly. And they are slender. You know what, Tasmanian tiger, I'm not sure if it's a tiger or if it's a dog, but I know that it looks like a dog, so that's something. Okay, so now let's finish this tail. What do we want to do? Do we want to flip it up, flip it down? I'll let you decide. You want the tail down or up? You guys decide. Let me know as soon as possible. And what I'm doing here is I am just repeating the same step that I did here, and I'm going to do it again right here. I'm just going to follow closely. And whenever you do the back legs, you want to make the back one just a smidge higher than the rest. Let's go back up to the nose, and let's add 3 dots for his whiskers. And let's put that tail up. It's gonna be a funny up looking tail. But he is a happy little dog, tiger, thingy, Tasmanian tiger. And then I like to plant all my characters nice and safely on the ground. That way gravity doesn't do anything bad to them. And if you're at home, you want to color this part in as dark as possible as you can, but for my sake, for your sake, for everybody's sake watching, I'm just gonna draw little slash lines. Okay, so now if you are drawing along with me, I do suggest switching your line weight. So I'm gonna switch to a thinner marker to add some detail. So I'm gonna start with their cool, what are these called? They're cool, I wanna say spikes, but I know in my gut that's wrong. Spikes? Lines, stripes. There we go. Mr. Gray's a little slow, so if you don't mind waiting for me. Now they did have this really cool stripe pattern. I'm not making this up. The Tasmanian tiger, you Google it right now, they have these cool stripes. So that's what we're doing there. Then I'm gonna go around and I'm just gonna add some texture dots. Yeah, a couple there. And maybe some pieces of hair, fur, curlies. And then once you finish your Tasmanian tiger, and I know it's a masterpiece, you want to make sure you sign it. And I'm actually going to add my John Hancock right in there. And that is how you draw the Tasmanian tiger. You know what? I'm going to write it for you, because these are all extinct animals. And between me and you, I've never heard of them. But like I said, Tasmania tiger. Every week, you guys choose a theme, and I have to just go with what fate, you know, just deals out to me. And I got extinct animals, so I got to learn about animals today. And I found out that the Tasmanian tiger, well, he looks like a puppy. And that's the most that I learned because I only read headlines. So, Tasmanian tiger, extinct animal. I'm Mr. Gray. Welcome to the Mr. Gray Live Show. And stick around because the Whimsical Wheel of Whimsy is going to come at the end of the show. And you get to decide what I'm going to draw right here next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. I'm here every Wednesday. It's a fun time. If you guys are looking for a way to escape the craziness of the world and you just need some of those good, warm, fuzzy feelings, well, come to the Mr. Gray Live Show. And we got a whole basket full. And it's a bottomless basket. I can't think of anything to compare it to, but it's like space. It just keeps going. I hope you guys are having fun. Hello to everybody who's watching. Hello to everybody who's just joining. Tasmanian tiger. We're gonna get into this next one in like 5 seconds. What do you think he's looking at? Probably his tail. My guess is it's his tail. Let's get the handy dandy eraser and let's say goodbye to the Tasmanian tiger. Some of the drawings I don't want to erase. This was one of them. Just had to take a mental moment and just connect with the tiger before I said goodbye. Okay. Let's get all those black specks out of there. All right. Oh, and don't forget, guys, if you haven't already seen it, I just released a coloring book contest. What? Coloring book contest from Mr. Gray, that's me. Animal Mashup Coloring Book. Just put the contest out right now, and the best colored page, you can pick any page you want. The best colored page gets a free signed print by yours truly. It's gonna be a complete surprise. So if you wanna do that, grab the Mr. Gray coloring book, color it, post your picture, tag me, QuickDraw McDrew, and I'll pick my favorite. So let's get into another drawing. All right, so if you are drawing along with me, let's do a vertical one. So you wanna make sure that your board, not your board, your paper is nice and vertical. And I seem to have lost you guys. I'm bringing you back in. This is what we call, I guess this is an oopsie doopsie moment. This is where technology and Mr. Gray don't mash together. But I'm coming back. All right. Please hold. All right, here we go. Okay. So if you're drawing along with me, you want to make sure your paper is vertical on this one. Ignore Mr. Gray's big old body covering the screen, but I do see you guys. I don't not want to see your comments. They mean everything to me. Okay, so let's start with, you guessed it, an eyeball. So if you are wondering what we are drawing now, I wonder the same thing, but it was called a great auk. And let me just go ahead and put that over here because if you want to go ahead and Google this as I draw it, it's a great auk. Now it looks like a penguin, so that's the best I can give you. So once you have your first eyeball in there, let's go ahead and add his beak. He's going to be a happy little auk. And I do hope that I am pronouncing that word right. Auk. Let's curl that right into his cheek. And then, okay, so we're gonna do something cool with the beak this time. It's something I don't think we've done here on the Mr. Gray Live Show. Let's go ahead and open that beak up. And I'll show you the trick for that. Once you have it in there like that, then you're just gonna follow ever so gently right around like that. And you can even hide his little tongue in there. And if you are at home, go ahead and color this in. I'm just gonna add lines. And then let's add his second eyeball. And let's make him cross-eyed. And then, so they have this little white mark around their eye. So since his eyes are close together, we're just gonna put our white mark right there. Okay, so like I said, he does sort of look like a penguin. So let's do this. Let's add our eye thingy. And then we're gonna do it in a couple stages. I'm gonna add his head first. Now we're gonna go from the head and we're gonna go right into his butt. And then right there, we're gonna go right into his tail. So how about this? If you wanna watch me do it first, we'll make him a short little fellow, just like that. And then, his little tail just hanging out there. No, tongue sticking out would have been funny. But he's happy for no apparent reason. I think he sees himself in the mirror. Okay, so now we're gonna give him a big old belly. The Great Auk. Maybe that's an acronym. I'm not sure. And then the Great Auk has big floppy feet. So let's do one straight line just like that. And then you're gonna do two little wavy lines to simulate his little flapper. And then let's add another one over here. All right, and then for his little wing, you're gonna curve line like that. You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and make that a little longer. He's a cutie patootie, as my mother would say. And there's his arm. And you know what? Let's have him wave. Maybe, or maybe he's pointing. Hey, guys! Come here. Something super sweet to show you. And then actually, let's give him a drop shadow just coming off the back here. And again, if you're at home, color it in. I'm just gonna draw the lines to make it easier for you, so you don't have to watch me for days and days. All right, so now I'm gonna switch to my thinner marker and I'm gonna go around and add some detail. So let's start by adding some hair on his head, make him even cuter. We can separate his belly. And we can add some dots, a little bit more texture. And maybe some hair. And I think that's gonna do it for our Great Auk. So remember, lastly, to sign your masterpiece, I'm gonna put it right there. And that is how you draw the Great Auk, an extinct animal that looks distinctly like a penguin who's saying, hey, what's that over there? Is that a chocolate fountain? I have no idea. And don't forget, guys, if you are drawing along with me, I would love to see your drawings. So message me right here on Facebook, send me your artwork, and if you do, and you go to my website, I have a whole section where all your artwork lives, and it's super cool. And it's fun to see everybody's characters and how they turned out and how amazing they are. I hope you guys are having a blast. I know I'm having a blast. It's my favorite place in the world. Oh yeah, he's like, we're not extinct yet. So if you are just joining us here on the Mr. Gray Live Show, tonight's theme is extinct animals. And if you're wondering why we're drawing extinct animals, it's because you chose it. So if you want to see something, put your themes in all throughout the show, and at the end of the show, we're going to bring out the Whimsical Wheel of Whimsy. It's like the Wheel of Fortune, or whatever the show is where you spin it, and it's super exciting. So maybe we'll end up drawing all your ideas next week. And what do you guys say? We get into the next one? I think so. I hope everybody's having a fantastic evening. And morning if you're watching this the next day. Or afternoon if you're watching it tomorrow, but like in the afternoon. And if you guys do want to help Mr. Gray, that's me, share the video, tell as many people as you can, and let's spread the silliness around planet Earth. And if you know anybody on Mars, well, share it there as well. All right, let's do a fun one. Everybody knows this extinct animal, the dodo bird. Silly dodo bird. Okay, so if you do want to draw along with me, you're going to want to keep your paper horizontal. You're going to want one of these bad boys. Doesn't have to be a dry erase marker, but it should have some flow of ink to it. And let's do it. All right, so now let's draw this dodo bird. So to draw the dodo bird, guess what? Guess what we're going to start with? You guessed it. A nice, squeaky eyeball. Once you have your first squeaky eyeball in there, we can add the bridge of his nose. That way we can hide the next eyeball right behind his cute little face. It's gonna be cute. You can't see it yet, but I promise. Okay, so from here, we're gonna add his big beak. And then this is gonna go right into his cheek. And if you wanna make your smiles look cuter, you just add a little cheek and it changes the entire character. And let's make our dodo bird cross-eyed. Let's give him bigger pupils. There we go. And then you can go ahead and you can bring in that part of his mouth back into his eye. Alright, so on the left eye, you're going to add his eye thingy. And then I'm thinking just 2 pieces of hair flipped up. And then right from there, you're going to go right down into his neck. Alright, so this is where the dodo bird gets really cute. This is how we're going to make him cute. We're going to make him tiny. So right here, we're going to add 2 more of our little fluffed up hair. And now let's actually do it this way. Let's do his butt first. I'm going to go higher up on the neck. And that'll be his big old booty with his tail. And now we're gonna bring this back around. Do a little dance. And then right here, we're gonna add in the first start of his leg. And end it with a bunch of little half circles, half C's. We use the same technique on, I don't know, bushes or trees. I like to use it on fur. And then let's give him tiny, tiny feet. Alright, so now we're going to actually give him 3 toes, and we're going to add claws at the end of each one. And I'm going to repeat this same step one more time, but I'm going to hide it a little bit back here. Silly little dodo bird. And then I like to give my characters drop shadows. That way we know they're safely planted on the ground. This silly dodo bird, though, does look like he's gonna fly face first into the ground. And then a tiny wing. So once you have that first curved line in there, you can go ahead and add his little tail feathers. So now I'm actually gonna switch to my thinner marker to add some detail to our dodo bird. So first let's separate his beak a little bit. And sometimes I don't like to do a nice straight line. I like to break it up with dots or dashes. It just gives it a little bit more character. Right here, we're gonna add the inside of his nose and just color the right side black. That way he can distinctly pick his nose. Super important. And then let's go around and add just a couple U shapes, and that will simulate some fur. We can add some here if we want. And then I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna add texture dots. Like that. And definitely some hair, some curly hairs sticking off. I think that's gonna do it for our dodo bird. And lastly though, we're not done. You have to sign your masterpiece. And that is how you draw a dodo bird. Silly, silly dodo bird. Dodo. But I have a question. Why is it called dodo bird? Isn't it doo-doo bird? It says doo-doo. I don't know who came up with the pronunciation of dodo, but it's definitely doo-doo. So welcome everybody. This is the doo-doo bird. It was a creature that lived sometime before us, and it did things, and then it stopped doing things, and now here it is. And that is your history lesson for today. You are welcome. If you don't know who I am, I'm Mr. Gray. I am a historian of many great things. Should I just walk away? That was terrible. That was a terrible joke. I hope you guys are having a blasty blast. I know I am. And don't forget to message me your drawings so we can post them and show the entire world how amazing they are. And what else? You're amazing. I got nothing else. That's it. Just a bunch of amazing people hanging out, drawing cartoons. Maybe we should get into another drawing? What do you say? That's kind of why we're here, right? To learn how to draw cartoons? All right. Well, say bye, dodo bird. I mean doo-doo bird. You doo-doo bird? Okay. All right. Let's see. How about next we draw... I got it. Coming up next, an ibex. This is gonna get tricky, okay? Because they have some crazy horns that are pretty crazy. So you wanna make sure if you're gonna draw with me on this one, that you leave room on your paper for these crazy horns. So I'm gonna try to do the same thing. But if I mess up, it's gonna be okay, because there's no mistakes in art. Just as Bob Ross says, there's only happy little accidents. All right, if you are drawing along with me, make sure your paper is horizontal on this one. And we're gonna start with, you guessed it, an eyeball. But I'm gonna make sure to start a little smaller because I know how big these horns are. So let's hope I built in enough room with my, my eyeball there. So right from this eye, you're gonna add his snout. And a little bitty nose. And then we're gonna curl that right into his cheek. And now we can add the next eyeball. Okay, let's make him cross-eyed before we move any further. All right, I'm gonna do this next part nice and slow. Okay, so first, rounded, well, not too rounded, but a triangle ear. I'm gonna add the inside of the ear. We're gonna do my new favorite butt head, followed by another ear. Okay, so let's do the horns first. So follow me step by step and we will make it through safely. Starting right here, do one really big curved line. Okay, so now this line is gonna follow this line parallel, but as it gets closer to the head, it's gonna get a little thicker. So as we move along, just a little thicker. Now we gotta add one more on the other side. We're almost there. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna start about up here, and we're gonna draw the inside first. And then curl it. And we're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna make it thicker as it comes into his head. And those are the crazy horn of the ibex. Okay, so now from our ear, we can add our neck. And I'll stop for a second just in case you guys are still working on those horns, because those horns are super scary. You add his mouth. So the cool thing about the ibex is they have goatees. That's right. They're super cool. Okay, so now we're gonna go from our neck and we're gonna go right into his butt. And we're gonna arch his back. And then from his butt, we're gonna go right into his thigh and his leg. So I'm gonna bring this down. And then let's draw his thigh. And while you guys are catching up with this, let's go ahead and put his name. I'm sure he went by like Larry though. But that's what we call him, the ibex. Okay, let's bring this line back down. And then those little clouds we did on the last one, we're just gonna end our legs like that. And then a little hoof. A little tiny, tiny foot. So now we're gonna move to right here and we're gonna do the same thing we did on the, what did we do? On the Tasmanian tiger. And we're gonna add a thinner arm up front. Not too thin, but definitely thinner. End it with our little clouds. And his hoof, his hoof. Okay, so now from the goatee, we're just gonna wrap into his stomach. So now that we've done these two legs, we just gotta do two more behind him. And I'm just gonna follow along the line and draw it a little bit shorter. And then we can go ahead and add our drop shadow. And again, if you're at home, color this part in, nice and black. Add a little tail here. All right, so now I'm actually gonna switch to my thinner marker to start adding some detail. So how about we start right up here on these horns? And I'm just gonna add little lines, little dots as we go along. Could add a little texture under his belly. And then just some texture dots. And we could even go around and add some hair. Add some curly ones if you want. And then lastly, don't forget to sign your masterpiece. And that is how you draw the good old extinct. I can't even say that word anymore. The extinct, why can't I say it? Extinct? I can't say the word anymore. Extinct? I'm getting the okay that I'm saying it correct. The extinct ibex. Mr. Gray has lost his ability to speak. But I hope your ibex looks as amazing as this does. I'm sure it does. And if it does look amazing, if you haven't already sent it to me, send it to me right here on Facebook and we'll post it on my website and everywhere on Facebook for everybody to see. Your silly, silly ibex. You think they fell over a lot with those horns? I bet. I wonder what he's thinking. Alright, we got 20 minutes left of the Mr. Gray Live Show. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself. If it's your first time joining the Mr. Gray Live Show, welcome. I'm Mr. Gray, and that's an ibex, and we're drawing extinct animals. And if you're wondering why, every week we spin a whimsical wheel of whimsy. You pick what theme it's going to be, and every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, we draw one of those themes. So this week was an ibex, extinct animals, and ibex came out of it. It was a rough one. It was hard finding these animals, but I'm glad I did. Let's get this guy out of here. Let's get into another one. Yeah, they probably got caught in trees all the time. And don't forget, guys, let's flash it on the board. I'm having a coloring book contest right now. It's super simple. Get the Mr. Gray coloring book, pick a page, color it, and then I'm gonna pick my favorite one. And the winner, I will send a super awesome, top secret signed drawing by me. You don't know what it's gonna be, but I promise you it's gonna be super cool, and you can put it right on your wall and be like, there it is. I'm the king of coloring book coloring. So if you want to draw along with me, we're gonna get into another one in about 2 seconds after I get a sip of some water. That way I can still speak. All right, so I'm thinking for our next drawing, how about we do a little jig? I'm kidding. Let's do a woolly rhino. So you guys all know about the woolly mammoth, but did you know there was a woolly rhino? A giant rhinoceros that was big. I don't remember how big, but it was super big. So if you want to draw along with me, what do you say? Would it be cool to have a coloring book of your favorite suggested themes? It would be a cool coloring book. If you guys didn't know, I'm working on my next 2 coloring books. Ooh, you guys don't know about the other one, top secret. But the coloring book I'm working on right now is Zombie Edition. And I'm zombifying my first coloring book, Animals and Friends. And it's super cool. If you want to check it out, you know, just scroll. You'll see it. They're super cool. The mariachi fly is my favorite. Any hoosers, Mr. Gray's rambling. Let's get into the woolly rhinoceros. If you're at home, you want to make sure your paper is horizontal. And you want to make sure that you leave a lot of room on your paper, because it is a giant, giant animal. So here we go. We're going to start with an eyeball, but let me try to picture this. Let's start right here. Let me make sure I build enough. You want to build enough space on the left side of your paper so we can add the horn. So once you have the first eyeball, you can draw the second eyeball, because it's not an alien, so it only has 2. make him cross-eyed, because what better way to do that? Okay, so now we're gonna get into the horn business. So let's go straight down like this. I'm gonna do it in stages. Okay, so this is the first horn. Nice small guy. Then you can go ahead and round off the bottom. And we're gonna go, again, another straight line. Except this one, it's gonna be way bigger. Round it off again. Okay, so now from here, that's gonna be his mouth. The cute little smile. And then, let's go. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go from the bottom of his lip, his top lip, and you're gonna go in and then out. And don't forget, guys, to get your themes in now for next Wednesday. It could be as crazy as you want it to be. Alright, so now you're gonna draw a backwards capital D flipped up sideways. And then color in the right side of it. Alright, so right here above his jaw, you're gonna add in his ear. And then we're gonna start with his fur. We're gonna get back to that. Let's add another ear over here. Okay, here's how we're gonna do this. First, we're gonna build in his mane, then we're gonna go and do the rest of the body. So, if you wanna wait, you'll see where we're going with this. So that's gonna be the top of his back. And then, and you can't really mess this part up. I'm doing bigger and smaller little curved lines. Kind of almost to like a beard here. Alright, but this next part is a pretty important line. We're gonna come down like this and then into his butt. And then we can push this leg out. And then the leg is gonna go into 3 toes. So first you're gonna draw your curved line, and then you can just curve 1 toe, 2 toe, 3 toe. And then his thigh, let's start with 2 curved lines, that way we know he's still kind of furry throughout. And then from that, you're gonna go into his back leg. And let's actually add his tail before we go any further. And then his tail is also gonna be furry. And now let's give him some pretty big forearms, because he does hit the gym pretty often. And I'm going to repeat the same step. I'm going to add 3 toes. And then we're going to make his chest nice and big. We're going to go from furry to straight, to a little fur to back. Just vary your lines as you go through it. We can put another foot back here, and I'm repeating the same step here. And then how about another one here? And then nice big chunky drop shadow. And then if you are drawing along with me at home, you want to make sure you color this in. And I think it's about time to switch to my thinner marker so we can add some detail to our woolly rhinoceros. Alright, so I'm gonna part his hair a little bit. Let's add a lot of hair. Some curly ones. Add some texture dots. And I'm just doing this wherever my heart desires. If you wanted to, you could add some little hash marks on the back legs. Make it look like they're sort of in shadow. And then, of course, lastly, you guys know what to do. Oh, you know what? No, let's add some texture to this horn. I wasn't satisfied. And there's nothing wrong with that. Always want to keep pushing yourself. Let's see, we can add some more detail there. You can always build and build and build. Okay, I promise I'm done now. Now we sign our master piece, and that is how you draw a woolly rhino. Let me put that up there for you guys. Oh boy. I think woolly. Oh boy. I shot myself in my own foot. I don't know if I spelled that correctly. I can't confirm it, but you get the point. Oh wait, no. Wait. Hold on. Shh. Is it this? It might be that. Listen, I'm not an English major. It's a woolly rhino. I'm getting a lot of sign language, but it seems to be that I'm right or wrong, which is good. So, it's a rhino. It's a, you know what? It's a furry rhino, okay? It's a furry rhino. They're extinct. They don't exist anymore. Oh boy, Mr. Gray's losing his mind. How much time we got? Ooh, we got like 9 minutes left. You guys put your themes in for next week? I hope so, because the Whimsical Wheel of Whimsy, which is full of whimsy and whimsicalness, is gonna be brought out. We're gonna spin it and we're gonna find out what next week's episode's gonna be. We getting close? We have 2 spots left, so get your themes in now. How much time do we got left? I think we can do one more. We can fit one more in here. All right. All right. Let's see. Before we get into this next one, I'm thinking that we draw a Western camel. You guys know what a Western camel is? It's basically a camel, but it existed in North America, I'm pretty sure. Listen, I had to do a lot of research on these extinct animals. And by a lot, I just picked the cutest ones. Anyways, I found this cute little camel. Let's get into it. Okay. If you are drawing along with me, you want to make sure your paper is horizontal on this one. And let's start with an eyeball. Once you have your first eyeball in there, you can add the bridge to his nose. Once you have the bridge to his nose, you can add the front of his spout, his snout, followed by his second eyeball. And we're going to have him looking towards the sky. Let's add a nostril on the other side. Alright, so this we're going to square off and go right into his cheek. We can even add another nostril right here, which is just a sideways capital D. And then add the bottom of his mouth. You should be masters at this point of the ear. And let's go ahead and make his hair furry. And then add his second ear, sticking out just like that. All right, so he is a camel. So we're gonna give him his camel neck. From here, let's go ahead and go into his hump. For, what did they say, hump day? It is hump day, so sure hump day will. It's the middle of the week. And you're here on the Mr. Gray Live show. And I'm happy you're here. I hope you're having a blasty blast. All right, so now we're gonna go from our furry hump to his butt. Gave him a little squared off butt going on there. And then you can bring that leg right into his calf. And then what we did on the last animal, or not the last animal, the ibex, we're gonna add our little fur to the bottom before his foot. Actually, I'm pretty sure there would be a little split there. All right, let's go here and add our thigh. His knee, big old knee. And then let's bring that right down into his foot. Okay, so now we're gonna go here and we're gonna put in a thinner arm. But I'm kind of digging this random kneecap situation going on here. So I'm gonna make it a little bigger on the front. Sort of like a skeleton. He has a very tiny front leg. He's like, why is my leg so tiny? Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the face and we're gonna bring in the neck into his camel body. We forgot our little camel tail. I'm not going to touch that one, but I did see your comment. Okay, so I'm going to repeat these legs. And remember, the back leg is always just a little bit higher than the front leg. He's got a funny looking butt. Okay, and then let's go ahead and put him on the ground. And if you're at home, you know what to do. Color that in a nice, rich black. And then I'm going to switch to my thinner marker, and I'm just going to go around and add some light detail, some texture dots, definitely some hair. And I think that's gonna do it for our Western camel. And then you wanna make sure that you sign your masterpiece, because I know it's a masterpiece. The Western camel, they're extinct, so he's happy, but that's the Western camel. I hope you guys have had fun. If you did draw along with me, don't forget to message me, send me your drawings, and don't forget about the coloring book contest that's going on right now. It's super cool. But before we get into all that, it's time to bring out, I think it's time to bring out, is it time to bring out? It's time to bring out the whimsical wheel of whimsy. Do you know what that means? That means we are gonna decide what I'm gonna draw right here next week, next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. That's right, you guys decide. So I'm excited to find out what sort of themes you guys have thought of. So let's bring out the whimsical wheel of whimsy. It's that time. for the whimsical wheel of whimsy. All right, let's see what we got today. Okay, we have a lot going on here. Okay, let's go ahead and start putting these down. Okay, we have cats in funny hats. And I apologize if my spelling is terrible. I'm gonna shorten these up. Animated cosmetics? Okay. That would be a first, and you know what? I have a feeling it's gonna get picked. I'm loosely spelling these correctly, so if you are an English major, please don't make me cry. Animals with mullets? Okay. If there's a way we can rig this wheel to make it stop on that one. Okay, people. Yeah, I guess we don't draw people a lot, huh? Balloon animals, I know somebody wants this to get picked. And if you put up a theme any of the weeks prior and it didn't get picked, you can keep submitting that theme, because I've seen balloon animals for 3 weeks now, and we have a determined somebody out there, and keep trying. It's coming. Ooh, Wild West, that's a good one. Seen that. We got some mythical creatures. Animals in underpants. All right, I got a new favorite. I'm gonna draw underwear. Like something like that. Super, what do we got here? Super sleuths? Google says detective. Super detective. Super detectives. Thank you, Google. What do we got next? Sleepy animals. Aww. Me. Animal pig mashups. Oh, I love drawing pigs. Whoever put that, you must love me. Mashups. Where are we at? Funny /scary numbers in pants? Am I reading that correctly? Okay, funny numbers pants. We'll hopefully know what that is. And slimy cuteness. Woo! All right. Who's ready for the whimsical wheel, Whimsy? I know I am. We are gonna find out what we are drawing here next week on the Mr. Gray Live Show in 3, 2, 1. And now we let fate decide what Mr. Gray is gonna draw next Wednesday right here at 7 o'clock. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Big money, big money, big money. Balloon animals! Woo! Hey, that one stuck around for 3 weeks. Balloon animals. You know what? I'm just proud for that theme. That theme hung in there to the very end. I'm super proud of that theme. So next week's, guys, 7 o'clock, right here, next Wednesday, on the Mr. Gray Live Show, we are gonna draw balloon animals, and it is gonna be amazing. I hope you guys are excited for that. I hope you guys have had a blast. Spin the wheel. Spinning the wheel is the best. All right, but before we end the show, I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to do one more drawing in tribute of a fellow friend, artist, and I feel like I'm getting choked up, but one of the biggest fans and supporter of Mr. Gray since the very beginning, passed away last week. You guys may know her as Michelle or Chelly or Jean. I knew her as Ponut35. I'm sure you guys have seen her. She's been on almost every single one of the Mr. Gray Live shows. Just a great energy, very positive, very fun, and like I said, was super supportive. So it is with a heavy heart that, I don't know, it's just sad. It sucks when people go, but in memory of her, she was a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, and I don't blame her. So I thought we would end the show in tribute to her. We're going to do Edgar Allan Poe. So if you guys want to draw along with me, get out your paper and we'll do one more drawing of Mr. Edgar Allan Poe. So let's start. If you're drawing along with me, you want to keep your paper vertical. Get out your marker. And we're going to start with, you guessed it, big ol' eyeball. Once you have your eyeball in there, you can add the nose. Once you got the eyeball and nose, guess what? You can put in the next eyeball. And now, before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and give him these big ol' black rectangle eyebrows. And we're going to make Mr. Edgar Allan Poe super, super cool. We're going to have him looking off like, what you looking at? So now let's go here and we're going to add his mustache. And then again, I would do the lines, but to get the Mr. Edgar Allan Poe effect, you kind of have to have it nice and black. Alright, so from the left eye, we're going to do his cheek. And we can hide it underneath his mustache. And let's go ahead right here. You're going to add 2 little bags under his eyes like he hasn't slept in a long time. All right, and then from the bottom of his mustache, you're going to go straight down. And then I like to give him this big chin. I'm not quite sure if he had a big chin, but works for me. Alright, so right to the right of the eye, we're going to add in his ear. And let's go to the little inside of his ear. And then another cheek under here. And so, alright, this next part, I think this is what does it for my Edgar Allan Poe, is you gotta give him the big head, the big forehead. So, sorry Edgar, if I'm making fun of your forehead. And then I'm gonna stomp halfway to add a little piece of hair hanging down, and I think we're starting to see Mr. Edgar Allan Poe pop out of here. So now for the hair, he had crazy hair. So I'm going to start here. Add some hair for his part. A couple more here. And actually what's pretty cool about this, so I drew this a long time ago. And she actually ended up purchasing this exact rendition of Edgar Allan Poe. It's actually one of my very first sales. Mr. Edgar Allan Poe. I do love the Raven though. And then we're just gonna loop that into his neck. I think I made him a little beefier, but he's just been eating donuts lately. And then maybe a little hair there. And then I'm just going to go around and add some final detail. Texture dots. Let's try to make this look more Edgar Allan Poe. And I think that's going to do it for Edgar Allan Poe. And lastly, don't forget to sign your masterpiece. And that is how you draw Edgar Allan Poe. And until next week, guys, remember to stay positive, stay creative, and above all, stay silly.